Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Um, this is a show I probably shouldn't do because of my position, but a show that I felt like I am compelled to do. Um, I don't know this is going to end terribly well for me, but fuck them. So tomorrow is the GOP primary for the great state of Michigan. So if you're a Michigander, come out and vote. It'll be important. Vote in the primaries, vote for your preferred candidate. So, uh, this is what we're going through. So, I'm going to take you a little bit inside baseball, um, a little bit further than I should probably, like I said, probably go with this. But there comes a point where you have to stand up and you have to speak out against things, and we've gotten to a point in the GOP in the state of Michigan, which I'm a member, which I'm a representative of, where you have to stand up and you have to say enough's enough. This all started, um, and for what it's worth, I have met and interacted with both Pete Hoekstra and um, Kristina Karamo. I thought they were both great people. Don't have big complaints about either one of them. Kristina, last time in Grand Rapids, had some fantastic pizza. That's all I have to say. I gave the edge. I know that sounds stupid, but both of them were great people. Both of them, in all seriousness, I had great conversation with. Anytime that I have had conversation with them, and they both seem to be have a place in the future of the Republican Party. And I wish them both the utmost success. What is going on here is absolute garbage. And it cannot be stated clearly enough. This is a joke. This is clown world on our side of things. We stand up for so much that is not, we always make fun of the left being clown world. Left is, just this bullshit, just nonstop. And we're finally getting clown world over here on the right. And this is what I said to somebody at the GOP at our regional conventions last week. I said, we have the opportunity of a lifetime. We have a fractured Democratic Party. We have a candidate who is a complete and utter joke, and Joseph Robinette Biden. And we have numbers. We have all these people coming into our party. We have all this enthusiasm. We have all this influx, and we're gonna do dumb shit like this. We're gonna fight over who. And we'll get into it. So I'll give you a little bit. I'll give you a little bit of idea about what's coming up. So March 2nd, so this Saturday, is the state convention, which again, I was elected to a delegate of the state convention in the great state of Michigan. An honor I take and appreciate very much. And so I received an email at 2:00 p.m. today and 8 p.m. today that now there's a war of the infighting of the two sides of the Michigan GOP. So not only are we going to have a GOP state convention that will consist of a district caucus with a state convention in Detroit, Michigan, but we're also going to have a state convention in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And the reason that this is happening, so I'll read. So we have a crisis of leadership. So Kristina Karamo was the leader of the Michigan GOP going up to January 6th of this year. Right now, as an elected representative, as somebody who's sitting here, we have no idea who the hell our leader is at this point. So we don't have any idea whatsoever of who the GOP leader is for the current period in time. So Karamo was elected chairwoman last year. She was voted out on that January 6th date. January 6th date that was supposed to be December 27th, where she wasn't removed. In my opinion, it was shady. They held another, and that one, the 27th, I did attend. January 6th, I did not attend because we had already resolved the issue. And it was set up shadily. Everything you hear about backroom deals, nobody's supposed to be there, and they did not have quorum. Quorum is very important. It's the requisite number of people to be able to vote on issues, things like agenda items, things like that. They did not have quorum to remove Kristina Karamo from the ticket. Kristina then presided over 2 separate events for the Michigan GOP. And now Pete Hoekstra and this faction or wing of the Republican Party is now breaking it down so that they can again have another bite at the apple, remove Karamo, and really leave the elected delegates and representatives for the state of Michigan in flux. I mean, there's a heavy lean that I go to the Detroit convention because I think that's the more appropriate look. Donald Trump has endorsed Pete Hoekstra. I'm obviously a Trump supporter, so that weighs into it somewhat. But in my opinion, in my reading of it, until I see something different, I'll be attending the Detroit convention at Huntington Center in Detroit on March 2nd. So if you listen to the Republican National Committee, they say that Karamo has been properly removed, but have not recognized Pete Hoekstra as the new chair. And they stated that neither Karamo or Hoekstra would be a voting member at the National Party's winter meetings in Las Vegas. So they're working on a dispute. And now we're starting to go into where there's a court filing. So we'll go through an article on that as well. So I just want to, I want to show you. So here is the Michigan GOP. This is Kristina Karamo. This is a call to convention, March 2nd, 2024, 10 a.m., Huntington Place, Detroit, Michigan. I'm not going to go through any of the names, but so here's our agenda for March 2nd, 2024. And you can see here's the RNC convention, blah, blah, blah. So state convention, pretty normal. So this is what I received from my specific party chair, my regional party chair. And then I also received this today. It's probably pretty hard to see. We'll see if we can make it a little bit bigger. Apologize, but PDF, and it was weird. It wouldn't let me upload it to StreamYard. But State District Convention of Delegated Representatives of the Republican Party will be held on Saturday, March 2nd at 10 a.m. with registration opening at 8, just like the other one, at Amway Grand Plaza Hotel at 187 Monroe in Grand Rapids. And you see the kind of rules and breakdowns, and it's signed by Pete Hoekstra, who says he is the Michigan GOP chairman, which has not been recognized in any stretch of the imagination. For what it's worth, our convention normally is in Grand Rapids at the Amway Center. We thought it was kind of odd that it was going to be held at Huntington in Detroit when we generally go out to Grand Rapids. And it's normal. I mean, if you're in Michigan, I encourage you to run. It's fun. There's we all hang out Friday night, and It's a good time, but yeah. So now we'll go through. So the Detroit Free Press has an article on. So this was received at 2 p.m. The other one received at 8 p.m. So here we go. Judge says disputed leadership of Michigan Republican Party is extremely complex. So this is a Detroit Free Press article on the going on of what's happening currently in the state with the GOP. So judge said he may issue a ruling as early as Tuesday related to disputed leadership of the Michigan Republican Party. It would be hard to imagine a controversy more complex than this. Kent County Circuit Judge, for what it's worth, Kent County is in Grand Rapids. That is the that's kind of the stronghold of the Michigan GOP. The west side of the state is far more conservative than my side or the east side. Mainly because we have Detroit and the three liberal counties, but anything west is generally a little bit more red, and that makes sense. Well, just attend both. Well, that'd be kind of difficult to do because they're like 4 hours away, and I'll show you the difference just for people who might not be as familiar. So this is a great state of Michigan. Detroit is Huntington Place. That's where one of the conventions is, and then Grand Rapids is where the other convention will be. So complete opposite sides of the state for those unfamiliar with Michigan. Joseph Rossi said on Thursday after Michigan Republicans seeking to oust Karamo as their state party chair closed their case in a request for a preliminary injunction against her, and after Karamo's attorney called on Rossi to dismiss the request, even without hearing testimony from her side. Though the Republican National Committee has endorsed former ambassador and Congressman Pete Hoekstra as Karamo's replacement, not officially. They've endorsed him as a candidate, but they've not endorsed him as the chair. That has no legal suasion, maybe? I don't know. Rossi said this case largely centers on the interpretation of state party bylaws, he said. Jonathan Lauderbach, a Midland attorney representing Malinda Pego, who served as Karamo's co-chair, and other Republicans who oppose her leadership, told the judge the confusion from the disputed leadership undermines the integrity of Michigan Republican Party and is violating the First Amendment rights of his clients. With both Karamo and Hoekstra claiming to be lawful chair, anyone on the wrong side of the dispute is in potential criminal jeopardy under a section of federal law that makes it a crime under certain circumstances for someone to fraudulently misrepresent that they're acting on behalf of a political party, Lauderbach said. And that doesn't even put us in the that's the other part, legal jeopardy of fundraising, legal jeopardy of representing myself. I was elected under this certain set of circumstances. So me representing as an elected representative, is there legal trouble for that? Probably not something I should go in depth on a YouTube channel about, but fuck them. Margaret Kurzweil, an Oakland County attorney who is a member of the Michigan Republican Party State Committee, testified Thursday her actions are inhibited by the statute and the current leadership dispute. I will not raise any money for the Michigan Republican Party until the dispute gets resolved because of the criminal consequences are way too severe, Kurzweil testified. It's my law license. And with the current crop of bullshit Democrats in the state that would prosecute the hell out of us for any misstep, yeah, it's something to be concerned about. On Wednesday, Thomas Balk, a professional parliamentarian and one of the authors of the latest edition Robert Rules of Order, testified that he believes Karamo was lawfully removed at a January 6th meeting called by the state committee members who opposed her. But Donald Campbell, a Southfield attorney representing Karamo has repeatedly tried to knock holes in the process that was followed, suggesting a larger quorum was needed. Some of those who signed petitions calling for a special meeting had not paid their party dues and therefore lost their privileges. And as many as 3 who signed their petitions later recanted, saying they had signed on the basis of holding a special meeting on December 27th, originally as planned, not January 6th. 75% vote is required to remove Karamo as state party chair, but the senators had convened meetings on January 6th and January 20th that did not draw as many state committee members as either of the 2 recent meetings Karamo had presided over on January 13th and February 17th. Lauderbach only called 3 witnesses, but 2 thick binders of Michigan Republican Party bylaws, proxy sheets, petitions, and other documents are also in evidence. The case is set for trial in June, but there's a required urgency to issue a preliminary injunction, Campbell told the judge. Instead, it's a classic internal political dispute, Campbell said. Although Karamo and Hoekstra have called separate competing caucuses convention meetings for March 2nd to select presidential delegates to the Republican National Convention, there's no injury, he said. People can go to the meeting that they choose. With all due respect, Your Honor, kiss my ass. Because we have to run for those, and that puts us in a position where we're losing out on different things. So Karamo was elected chair at state convention last February, but has come under fire over lackluster fundraising and other concerns. Well, this is going to help our fundraising because now half of the people that would generally have fundraised or contributed are not going to because of legal jeopardy. When you add in the fact that we have a very, very, very terrible judicial system currently in place with the elections Democrats in the state of Michigan, you putting yourself in serious jeopardy, even representing under the current administration that's in Lansing. It's not a good idea. So, but so it puts us in a hell of a spot. For what it's worth, it was very contentious at our specific GOP events that happened last week. And this is, I mean, one could go as far as saying that this is turning the state over to Biden, a state that we certainly could have had something to do with and had a fight here. Saw some recent polls that said we're leading in the state, but if you start breaking down fundraising, if you start breaking down people that will start to volunteer because we're coming into that season, if you are starting to kind of tear at the fabric or the parts of the ground game that happens here, if Donald Trump isn't going to come here and give speeches like he usually does, all those things are going to have an effect on losing the state. The conglomeration of polls from right now have Trump with an 8-point lead over Biden here in Michigan, and that's going to shrink and be gone if there's no ground game, if there's no play, if there's no you're talking about not having any money for commercials. You're talking about not having him come to speak. It's the National Party endorses Hoekstra for chair, has not recognized him as chair. So that's kind of a breakdown as what we have so far. I've reached out to a couple of people that I know as well. that I've had some conversation with, and the consensus seems to be that we're going to Detroit. We're gonna wait and see, obviously, tomorrow what that ruling is. Detroit again is the Karamo party, or the Karamo backed GOP, and then Grand Rapids is the Hoekstra faction. We did get. Let me read that email. I don't know that I can bring it up, but so blah blah blah. So according to for what it's worth, the secretary of the convention, or the secretary of the party, Ms. Galeese, will be in Detroit, and they're saying that the official RNC chair has recognized anybody who's elected at the caucus in Detroit will be elevated to national delegate. So national delegates are the ones that that vote for the president. There's 3 from each district, some at large, and blah blah blah. So that's the information that we're getting right now. But it's hard to tell. I mean, it's hard to tell. Just trying to read. And also, for what it's worth, at the convention that was just recently held, our call to convention note, was that the convention was going to be in Detroit. So, Hoekstra faction, yeah. So I think that that's what it's gonna end up being, is an absolute mess. And it's just yet again more garbage. It's more garbage. So I'm trying to read anything more on it quickly. I think that the ruling, if there is one, that comes down on as early as Tuesday, so I'll be looking out for that. But trying to read if I see anything else. So I think it's I mean, I think it's going to be a mess. I think that we're going to have there's going to be a crisis. I mean, there's going to be a situation, and pretty much the entire process goes out the window, because somebody's going to make the wrong decision no matter which way you go. So if you go one way, then if I go to Grand Rapids, then you know, how do I, like, which way do you go with it? So it will be interesting. I think that there's a pretty good indication that I'm probably going to go to Detroit. And then you have from Hoekstra, if we unify and deliver Michigan for Donald Trump, he will be the 47th president of the United States. This is a mission as a chairman of GOP. I'm putting together an operation that will do just that. Well, that's not happening. It's being torn apart. being torn apart. So, so yeah, we'll see. Gonna have to pick one or the other. So, let me see. So I'm not seeing anything else right now. Yeah, here's another one from NBC that my opinion is blah 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 blah. So yeah, I just wanted to read that one real quick because it came up. So, we'll see. We'll see what comes of it. I can say one thing with absolute certainty, that this is a really bad look for our party. This is a really bad look for the state. And this ultimately loses the state to Biden. So, I don't know. Like I said at the beginning, we had such a golden opportunity, and I feel like we wasted that, and it's been a complete and utter mess ever since. I encourage them to get it figured out. Please get it figured out in the next couple days. Make a deal if you have to. But unfortunately, it's not going to. So there's going to be a split GOP. And some of us are going to be in Detroit. Some of us are going to be in Grand Rapids, and we'll just see where everything shakes out. I mean, I don't know that having additional. I mean, you're gonna have two slates of electors, and that's not going to be good for anybody. So, I will certainly keep an eye on it. I will definitely bring something up tomorrow when we cover the electorate or the election that happens in Michigan tomorrow. But yeah, until that, hang on, I'm looking. Yeah. Da-da-da. So yeah, I'll read through this later because it's a ton of pages. Yeah, well, we shouldn't be fighting. I mean, it should be against Joe Biden. But it's not. It's not, because I think that a lot of what people care about is themselves, and not what's best for the party or what's best for the state or anything like that. This seems like it's kind of a crazy scenario and crazy situation where you're going to have two separate conventions going on, and it'll be interesting to see who is at each convention. So, no, we had that at county conventions. So we don't need that shit again. So exactly. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's great for anybody but themselves. So I encourage you to get it figured out. I really, truly do. Like I said, I'm leaning towards Detroit, but if that doesn't happen and Grand Rapids is the pick, see, and that's so sidetrack real quick. I was elected to the Michigan GOP convention in Detroit. So I wasn't even fucking elected to the one in Grand Rapids because it wasn't here yet. So I don't even know that I could attend. I mean, theoretically, if the chair and the GOP and blah blah blah, then yes, I should be able to attend whichever one by my choosing. And I got call a convention from the one that's taken place in Grand Rapids. However, I was elected, and our balloting was to the district convention, state convention in the city of Detroit. So, yeah, I don't know. But I'll keep I'll keep an eye on it, and we'll see what happens. And we'll see how many people go to each convention. So, but yeah, that's going to be it for me. Short one. I just wanted to vent my frustrations because this is not what we need right now. We need to come together. We need to beat Joe Biden and show that we're not a bass-ackwards piece of garbage party. And that's exactly what we're doing. So there will be more to come, I promise. Exactly. So for now, that's going to be it for me. If anything changes, I'll certainly let you know. I'm assuming there would be something tomorrow, and we'll go from there. So hope everyone has a good night, and I will talk to you all very soon.